life.
Empowered for service.
Aggregate farming.
Every step counts.
Thank you everyone for coming. Attitude is the principal thing to everything achievable in life.
Yes.
If you put a positive attitude to any issue, you will end up positively.
Yes.
And that is why we are here today, we from Grace Life Foundation, to make us understand what we stand to gain in farming, in agriculture. Environmental-wise, we improve the health of our environment. Economic-wise, we boost our finances. You understand?
Yes.
Dietary-wise, we are safe. Because when you can combine crop farming to your animal farming and all of that, you know, you can always lay hands on what to eat.
Yes.
So when we mean every step counts, even in the disposal of the waste, you know, from your animal farms, the waste from there, your crops is better managed, unlike the synthetic fertilizers we apply. Our environment needs to be safe.
Good.
Every one of us needs to be productive.
Good.
You need this idea is something that we want to start from our homes. Even our children get to know how to live, to act, to protect our environment, to live a healthy life, and to be productive in the society. Because it's not just government that government work before you survive.
Yes.
And you know, now we have challenge of climate change problems due to emissions of gases and everything that is happening, that is depleting the ozone layer, and the weather and climate is becoming unbearable for us. But when we continue to apply what we learn here, I believe we'll have a fairer world.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Aggregate farming.
Every step counts.
There are so many things around us that we don't value. Now is the time we can value them and enrich ourselves through those things. And that is why we are talking about aggregate farming. Aggregate farming is just integrated farming. When you can bring your crop, bring your livestock, and processing methods together to create something that will be beneficial to you. So many of us plant cassava, but we don't know how to mechanize it and produce it to the extent that we can even be importing it. Because Nigeria imports cassava products. Don't we know?
We know.
We know.
So we can get to that level. Even our local chicken can earn you more money than the exotic one. So I'm telling you out of experience. In my PhD work, I researched on this, our own genetic resources. How do we improve life through this our local chicken? I did it. You can mass produce it and earn with it. So even this corn, maize that we produce, we only produce the one we can harvest and eat. You know how to do it. But there are so many people that don't even know how to do it. They are employed people. They will do the work for them and they produce and sell. Like all of us, after hearing this thing, we go to the field. Thank God that we are in rainy season, production season, when we can plant and harvest something. Let's talk about poultry. Most of the times we go for exotic breeds, or Aggregate. Forget about the ones we have. A bird, a local chicken can cost up to 5,000 naira now.
Yes.
Yes.
More than that.
If you have up to 100 of it, how much do you have?
It's
5,000 times 100 is 500,000.
That's
If you have 1,000 of it,
It's 1 million.
1 million. There is one man at Techara. After presenting this type of thing, he went into production. When we need birds for research, I even go consult him. He will supply to me. Even if I need up to 1,000, that man will supply to me. Before, He don't used to take those things as anything, but immediately he engaged the stuff. Today he's a millionaire. When I was researching on this, I constructed incubator by myself.
Thank God.
Incubator. I constructed it. I went and bought original lamp.
Through your hand.
I created artificial humidity and regulate the temperature.
Good.
Good.
After 21 days, I was able to hatch birds right inside my own room. So I was able to produce up to 500 birds within few months, the local chicken.
Okay, go ahead.
So I continued this until I finished my PhD research. I said, wow, so many people are ignorant of this. The resources are within our reach. These birds can fend on their own. Every farmer needs to maximize productivity and gain and reduce costs. If you want to engage in agriculture to start up, the first point is planning. You have to plan very well. After planning, map out. At times, you prepare a tentative feasibility study. That is business plan. How do I start this? How will I take off? What and what do I need to start? You hear of Phenoma Farm Limited at Enugu. Esa of Ngo, the Igwe of Ngo. So that man produces up to 100,000 crates of eggs every day.
Jesus.
100,000 crates of eggs every day, daily. I'm talking of daily, not just
Daily.
The man started with 9 local chicken. Okuku Igbo. 9 of them. That's how he started. He discovered that these birds are very, very prolific. They can lay eggs within 21 days. They can hatch. And after some time, they will lay again and hatch. Within a year, they can lay up to 5 times. So, this man discovered all the potentials of the local chicken. He said if he can house them, as they lay, he collects those eggs and put them inside the incubator. After 21 days, those things will hatch. The egg will hatch. If he continues like that, he will generate a lot. That's how the man started. Today he's a multi-billionaire. Once you have planned your way out, once the money comes, no matter how late it will be, just take off. Take off. Let me tell you, you know the most poor people today? Eh? The poorest people we have today are civil servants.
Of course, yes. Yes. Of course.
Civil servants, even if they pay you up to 300,000 naira, it cannot sustain you. I earn more than 300,000 naira in a month. So, it cannot even sustain you.
Yes.
But if you can engage in that small farming that you think is nothing and prudently manage it, before you know it, you are already earning too much money. And that is why. Did I say planning? The next thing is put up. I said no matter how small it will be,
Yes.
take off. After planning, after capital, the next is how do I manage the day-to-day activities that are involved in that
Business.
aspect of production. There are some people that don't care. You have to manage the feeding, you have to manage the health, you have to manage the production practices or activities. So if you can manage those aspects very well, the next thing is how do I manage the birds when they lay eggs? How do I manage the eggs so that they can hatch very well? because if your hatchability, if the hatchability of your eggs is not up to 90%, that means
You have not started.
it's nothing.
You have not started.
My own, usually between
98, 99.
98,
99.
97. That is from 97 to 100. So you manage it very well. If it is broiler that you are rearing, the health aspect of it is very, very important, and the feeding.
Yes.
You manage the house, where you confine them, where you put them. Make sure that there is adequate ventilation. You manage the litter, the beddings, those things you spray on the ground for them to stay. You manage the beddings or the litter. Make sure that once it is due for removal, you remove it and apply more. So before you bring the birds there are so many things, some routine activities or occasional ones you have to undertake. Something like cleaning the pen, fumigating it. Before you put your bed there, make sure that those environments are kept there.
Sanitized.
And at the early stage, they need what? Heat. The temperature of the environment has to equate their own body temperature so that they will thrive very well. Once the temperature is below their normal body temperature,
It becomes a problem.
if you cannot feel comfortable, the next thing they will become weak and die. And the temperature at that very moment should be 39 to 40. 39 to 40.
Yes.
As the, or just between 37 to 40. It's not been beyond that. As they grow, you reduce the temperature by removing the heat source. And at times, if you see the birds quadro, that is, they come together, that means there is a cold, you increase the temperature. If they run away from the source of heat, that means the heat is much on them. You have to reduce. That is why management is very, very important. If you manage them closely, you can see those things and handle them. So many people incur loss because of mismanagement. And that is why aggregate farming is telling you that every step
counts.
So, after that, if it is broiler, the health aspect of it, right from the day you brought them, is very, very important. What will I give to those birds before they enter there, so that they will not be weak? Because you have moved them from distance to that place and they have been stressed. The first thing you will give to them when they arrive is anti-stress. What is anti-stress? Those multivitamin drugs they give to them. Even glucose is an example of anti-stress. Vitalites and there's so many of them. They are all anti-stress. You put them in water according to prescription, and they will drink and become stressing. Following other normal routine activities that you have already placed in order. On arrival, make sure that that first day they have received Marek's disease vaccine. The Marek's disease makes them to have these slight legs, which at times make them paralyzed. So if you give them that Marek's disease, even some farms administer that Marek's disease vaccine before sending it to buyers, but so many other farms don't do. So, and the next thing is, what route do I apply? So many people don't know how to vaccinate, and that is why it is very, very important. You learn them, you learn those things. at that day old, you administer it through through intraocular. You put it in the eye. You just drop it in the eye. One drop in each of the eyes. That settles it. At 1 week, we give them first dose of Newcastle disease vaccine. As they are approaching 3 weeks, you get ready for this immunobursal disease vaccine. That one they call it Gumboro. So after that, the next is the second dose of Newcastle disease vaccine. So after that one, you get them ready for disposal, because they will not, within 8 weeks you have already sold off your bed, or except in some rare cases where some farmers allow the birds to stay up to 3 months. If it is laying hen, after the starting phase, the next phase is growing phase. After growing phase, the next phase is laying phase. The growing phase, we call it rearing phase. So during starter, remember that the birds will be fed with starter feed, starter mesh. During growing stage, it is a grower mesh. But you don't give grower to broilers, because they don't pass through this rearing stage. You give, after 4 weeks, you start giving them finisher. There is what we call food baths at the entrance of the pen. So that as you enter, before you enter there, you step into that food bath. That food dip or deep vat contains chemicals, formalin. I think I mentioned formalin, yes, or formaldehyde. Yes. So, or Dettol. I mean, this Dettol itself, Isal or Isol. Yeah. Once you step there, those pathogenic organisms under your foot will die off before you step inside. Into the fan. So, the next one is vaccinating them. There is danger in vaccination because some people don't care about maintaining the cold chain. The doses. There are some vaccines that are live vaccines. Yes. And you have to maintain the cold chain, because once the cold chain is not maintained, those vaccines become live and become active. And once you administer them to bears, they will attack the bears. That is one of the dangers of vaccines. And that is why you have to follow due management procedures. So, I think, yes, you have understood what I mean. So, I said goat. Goat is another aspect of livestock farming. We call it ruminant production. We have a large ruminant and a small ruminant. Goat is one of the small ruminants. Cattle large. Is the large ruminant. There is how we manage our own goats. We don't allow the mother to breastfeed them until they grow old. We have number of days we stay with the mother and we detach them from the mother so that another production phase will continue. Goats, their gestation period is about 150 days. Can give birth to 2 times. What do we do if we want to engage in that production? As I said earlier, planning, capital, yes, management. There are so many different types of management. I think I told you earlier. Housing management. Yes. Some people don't even have house for their goats. The next thing is feeding, especially in the dry feed season when there is no feed.
That's true.
So we have to take care of these things. Feeding management is very, very important, very, very paramount to production. At times we go into pasture production. We produce those plants that they will consume. There are so many plants around our vicinity that we don't even know that goats consume them. And that is why it's very, very important to know those things, know how to apply them, and enrich yourself. Goat housing is not like that of birds. We first of all consider the pattern of house we build for goat. That is the pattern of
The place.
In the first place, there must be ventilation. Many people have goat pot. They don't know how to build their house that will enable them to sustain when the environment is hard. Most in the dry season, you see there are diseases. This pneumonia that attack those goats. It equally attacks that of those large ruminants, especially in the dry season because of heat. At times they have abortion. That is, if it is human, we call it miscarriage. So, and you don't know why such things is happening because of the conditions that are being placed. The essence of this literature is to control those anomalies so that their gain will be maximized. So what do we do in such condition? Build a very good house with cross ventilation. Make sure that there is open windows that will allow good ventilation. And the next thing is, some people don't even consider the floor. Those animals will urinate there, defecate there, and they will remain there. So the farmer don't even care about those things. Because those things they drop, their droppings are source of pathogenic organisms that can infest them. So if we are able to manage the house, clean the house always, and if possible, make beddings for them, just like beds. If you go to Western world, you see the type of thing they put on the floor for the animals. So that even if they urinate there, it will not touch the animal until they will come and clean it and put another one routinely. So the next one is feeding them. There are so many grasses around us that we used to feed the animals. Some of us do not know most of those grasses. As an agriculturist, we conduct what we call proximate analysis and make sure that all the plants or the green leaves we give to animals are non-tested to know the level of this anti-nutritional factors in them. There are some anti-nutritional factors that can kill the animal. Just like in some cassava leaves, there are some cassava leaves, if your goat eats it, that is the end of that goat.
9 leaf.
Not just all the 9 leaves, there is a particular one.
Yes.
There is a particular one.
9 leaves.
There are so many 9 leaves you can give to the animal, to the goat, and they will eat it, nothing will happen. But there is a particular variety of cassava leaf. At times we gather leaves for the animal. We don't care to know whether there is any any of those organisms that can harm the animal in that leaf. There are some organisms that can eat or it will cause a lot of problems. Just like this Fasciola hepatica, the organism will just perch on the leaf. Once they eat it, straight to the liver, we incubate them, multiply, and attack the animal. So, not of, they are microscopic. That you don't just see them.
With ordinary eyes.
They are very, very tiny.
Minute.
So, likewise the caterpillar of, there are some that will chew. That will be the end of their life. And that is why management is very, very
imperative.
Very good production. So, another one, you know, some people, once your animal is advancing in pregnancy, that is when the patrician period is at hand, you don't allow the animal to be grazing on anyhow. You confine them and be giving them food there. I mean, they will not miscarry the goats, the young one. If you are able to manage them that time, and what type of food do we give them at that time? There is what we call topping. That is topping in such type of animal. Topping is giving them additional type of nutrients other than what we used to give to them before. That will sustain them at that moment, supply all the nutrients they need for the one that they are carrying. It's very, very important. So, and another one, after giving birth, you still give them another type of feeding that will boost their immune system. Once they give birth, you start another phase of feeding to boost the immune system. Let us just round up with piggery, pig production. We call it swine. The process of giving birth in a pig or swine is farrowing. So, it takes about 114 days, 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days. So, which means that animal can give birth up to 3 times in a year. And each farrow can take up to 10 or more. We have record of a pig that gave birth, that farrowed up to 26 at a go.
Yes.
One man, every time he will be telling me that there is no money. I told him there is something, there is solution to that no money slogan. So I told him, try and get one pig, female. Borrow the male. If you do not have money to buy a male and a female. This man went and constructed one pen. I told him, no, construct it in this. I told him how to construct it so that once it furrow, he can separate them. We are talking about planning.
Yes.
So, this man thought I was joking. He went and constructed just small thing and bought one pig. Then borrowed the
male.
It furrowed 7. He went and bought another one. That one furrowed, it was 8. He bought the 3rd one. That one furrowed 5. So the house now cannot contain them. He has already expanded it, but still needs more space. So the next is, how do we manage it? It's not the way you manage birds, you manage goats, and it's not the same way you manage pigs. Yeah. So if you have a pig, there's one of my boys I trained. This guy is a millionaire now through pig production. You know Galado? Galado has more than 100 pigs.
Over 100
now.
Over 150. I know you.
he plans very well in his management, both water, both feeding, both housing, both health. So the female one, once it furrows, the next thing you do is administer iron drug to the young one. That same day it furrowed. If it escapes that day, it is not escape the second day. Make sure that within 24 hours you have administered that iron drug. Prophylactic measure. You don't allow people to enter the. Just make sure that you break the source of
entrance
of that virus.
Yes.
So that it will not infest their farm.
Good.
So, and that is where I want to end now. Maybe some other time we'll talk.
Praise the Lord. I want to sincerely appreciate you for this lecture. I want to tell my people that in the shortest while, when you train us and go back, I will have to call some of my able men here to come and retrain them in our own lingua, so that they can understand this program better.
I am Priscilla Chinaza Mbam, the chairman of Grace Life Foundation for Ebonyi Rural Development. The program is a non-governmental organization, NGO, that is, its mission is to lead the change in belief, attitudes, and disposition of individuals through training and access to finance for a healthy state. We inaugurated the office last year, 2024. We train across our communities in Ikwo. We are covering Ikwo communities now, though the plan is to cover anyone at all from anywhere. But we have trained people from Enyibichiri, Obiagi Enyibichiri, Alike Ikwo. We have got, most of them have got empowered, and most of them have actually done well. They have added some livestock beds into their normal crop farming that have been in vogue. So, but now we can see we've recorded great improvement from many of them, and they are very happy. And we'll continue to train. The benefit of the NGO is that we envision a state, a condition where our society is safe and productive. We are getting it because the few who have been trained, they are making progresses, they're implementing what we have taught them, and that is what is giving us the impetus to continue the program. I'm so happy. The level of compliance from these communities whom we have involved is so encouraging that we can't relent. We can't relent. Grace Life,
Empowered for service.
Empowered for service. So, aggregate farming.
Every step counts. Madam.